Campbell losing to UNI his first game,
Right.
to like 13 months later beating Oklahoma, number 3 Oklahoma at Oklahoma. Like, talk about the biggest jump of all jumps. Welcome back to another edition of Sound the Sirens. I'm your host, Thomas Orness, and today I'm joined with my father, Craig Orness. I guess it's kind of been a while since we've been on our YouTube in this studio.
Yeah.
Lots happened. We're airing this when there's only 18 days left until our seventh ranked team.
7th rank. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's as you were saying earlier, was the highest ranked of the state of Iowa team in the preseason poll since 1985.
In the state of Iowa, that was a shocking statistic. I mean,
yeah,
we knew it wasn't us, but
yeah, we're gonna beat Iowa, UNI hopefully.
God. And no, let's not even go there. I mean, when we sat at the UAB game, do you remember that?
I'm just saying that
we were talking about what happens if we lose. Don't say that.
No, I'm saying if we do win, let's just say that. Okay.
When we do.
Yeah, when we win, when we play Iowa, will be the first time we're both ranked, and could be a top 15 matchup if Iowa beats Indiana, hopefully, which is a pretty tough.
That's a pretty tough opener.
That's a pretty tough opener for them. Yeah. But yeah, it's just been a lot of up and downs. Me and Ryan talked about the Big 12 like the turmoil of the Oklahoma and Texas. It's just like up and down, up and down.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's just like media trying to get clicks and emotion. Like, there's so much emotion over it. So I feel like any little headline, that murmur of news, they just get Iowa State fans and like the 8 teams that are in jeopardy of not knowing what they're doing, their fan bases, to click on their articles. I think that a little bit of that's going on.
Oh, there's a lot of that going on. I mean, if you take, the headline, what was the headline Sunday? The Pac-12, Big Ten, and ACC were having discussions about a alliance about scheduling or whatever. Well, then it says Big 12 not included. Well, of course we're not going to be included right now. I mean, but very easily could be all of those teams could be a part of one of those conferences. It's not going to happen this year.
Yeah.
But everybody's.
And like you have to have the athletic subscription to even read the article.
Right. Yeah.
So like
a lot of clickbait out there. I mean,
yeah, which there's so much emotion going on because like we're kind of like at a high of an Iowa State cyclone for sure. Like you're a lifetime for sure with football.
Oh yeah, I mean I was in junior high when the Earl Bruce age was going on, and like when we interviewed Bruce Reimers, he was talking about that. Iowa was awful back then.
Yeah, before Hayden Fry.
Right, and we were really good, but even then, we were never on TV. I mean, all my memories of Iowa State football growing up was listening to it on the radio and then getting to watch the Peach Bowl. I remember that because it was, we never got to see them live unless you went there. And so now I think everybody gets connected to the team a lot more, because you can actually see them on TV. I mean,
yeah. But do you remember when the Texas what was their conference that blew up with Rice?
Southwest Conference.
Do you remember like that time? Do you remember that at all?
It
was like 1995.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the reason that they blew up. I mean, that was right around the time that like message boards and that crap started.
Yeah,
because I remember Jim Rome, had a talk show which I listened to a lot back then. He always called his listeners the clones, which I never did figure out why.
Yeah,
and I would always make a comment about we're the real clones or some stupid thing like that. But I just remember the last Big 8 tournament we won basketball with Tim Floyd, and then it just kind of all of a sudden we adopted these extra Texas teams, and it just didn't seem like that big a deal. I mean, it was a big deal because of money and expanded the conference, and the Big 8 was not the Big 8 anymore. It had been around for at that time 50 years at least or whatever. So I don't remember it being, but there, everything has changed because of social media.
Yeah.
The littlest thing. I mean, take your tweet yesterday.
Yeah.
You put one tweet out about people's pets.
Yeah, and then
people are. I mean, it was awesome. It was really hilarious.
I did the analytics. I looked at analytics on it. 16,000 people saw it.
Yeah. So right. So the whole social media has changed taken some things that are trivial and made them all of a sudden really important. So back
Which
then,
makes this so impressive by Oklahoma and Texas keeping this under wraps for so long. Like there's
right.
no rumors. Like basically, just look at the news now. Like any little small maybe rumor, this source of a source says that Oklahoma, Texas might leave, but it was just like bam, they're leaving.
Yeah, it's whoever did that should be working for the CIA because
Yeah.
nobody knew what was going on. I mean, I don't think. I would hope Bowlesby didn't know what was going on
Because,
but
like,
God help, why? How did you not?
The week before was like, this is the happiest our conference has ever been. We someone actually, I don't know if someone asked him about realignment, but like, it's like, yeah, I love how our conference sitting at, but they're talking about playoff expansion, and like it was Bowlesby and like the SEC commissioner, and they want 12 teams, and if they kept, since the Big 12 is a Power 5 and has the least amount of teams, that means each team gets more money than like everyone else. So it's just
on, right?
Yeah, I got it back there.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's just a whirlwind of emotions that it should just be like Iowa State just being really excited about a football team. That it's like Purdy's coming back. We got like my best. It's arguable between Sage, Seneca, and Purdy. Purdy's like the best 4-year guy.
Sure. Yeah.
And Breece Hall.
Sage may have something to say about that. I mean, Sage didn't have the weapons, possibly. I don't know. I mean,
it's just like, yeah, they're pretty similar. And just like a collective, like Breece Hall's the best running back since Troy Davis. And which is funny because Troy Davis had a real big issue of him having 28 when Breece was a freshman. Remember that?
Yeah.
And because he thought it was supposed to be retired, and maybe they'll retire after Breece.
Yeah, who knows?
Because like those two, he finished 6th in the Heisman as a sophomore, and just really impressive kid. And
yeah, and I guess he's gotten bigger.
Yeah,
I mean, all of them have, obviously I think they want to take the next step. So they're all, if you've seen, the video of the Simmons kid that's an offensive lineman and Remsburg, I mean, geez, they've been eating a lot. I mean, and that's kind of the mind-blowing thing to me about the guys we've interviewed from past years, like when Todd Blythe and Seneca and then Bruce Reimers that we interviewed talking about how little of food they had to eat.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys had to be hungry all the time. I mean, Bruce Reimer says they gave them $5 and they would not feed them on Sunday night.
Yeah.
That's insane. He was 6'7", 290.
It's funny, like Bruce Reimers and then like Todd Blythe played like 25 years after Bruce Reimers, and it was like the same conditions.
Well, that's the thing. The thing that I thought was hilarious is that all of you alumni have been in State Gym. State Gym today is not what State Gym was 25 years ago because they've done a lot of remodeling. I've seen they've got that ginormous, hot tub in there now that you can actually go sit and watch away games and stuff in it. So it's a really cool place. But, Ryan Harklaw was lifting weights in the basement of State Gym, the same as Bruce Reimers was in the early 80s.
Yeah,
so we've made no progress.
Which is nuts what Mac did. Like that's why Mac was such a huge part of Iowa State because he it's like Mac and then Johnny Orr. Like those guys really like pushed like the loyalty and like passion through the Iowa State fan base, which like our family, like without Johnny Orr, like I mean Grandma and Grandpa went before then, but it wouldn't be like as passionate because like we were not as good.
No, well I mean I think the thing that I think is interesting just in my lifetime thinking about Iowa State, the coaching hires, is that every time we've made a mistake or having a coaching hire that didn't work, it just sets us back so far. You go back to Johnny Majors, went on to have a great career at Tennessee. We followed that hire up with Earl Bruce, who then had success as well. But then we go to Donnie Duncan and Jim Kreiner, and things did not go very well.
I can't think of anything because like me, like I usually like Iowa State history, like but them I've like never really heard those names before.
Yeah, I mean those were the high school guys, and then Jim Walden was a great interview and had a little success at times, but we never had any. And we were always saying, we can't compete with Nebraska, we can't compete with Iowa, we can't compete with Oklahoma. I mean And that's the thing that's kind of cool to see is Campbell sticking it to all those people saying, yeah, we can. I mean, we just have to. A lot of it has to do with attitude and
which is it's just crazy how fast it's happened.
Yeah,
like
I mean, in this day and age too.
Yeah,
I mean,
where it's hard to like my generation. Not like talk about my generation, but our generation has to like, oh, this is that we have to be shown like this is gonna work. But
yeah, delayed gratification. Your generation does not like.
Which
they want it Amazon Prime success.
Yeah, like
want it tomorrow.
But David and like Hakeem and then Lazard, just like went from Campbell losing to UNI his first game,
right,
to like 13 months later beating Oklahoma, number 3 Oklahoma at Oklahoma. Like, talk about the biggest jump of all jumps. Just
those are big hurdles to cross. I mean, but we thought, when Paul Rhodes was here and we went at Nebraska.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big hurdle, but then we just didn't quite get over the hump with that. So it's been, like Ryan Harklaw said, it's kind of been a journey, and everybody gets nervous about this whole Big 12 thing. Just, forget about it. We can't control it. We got a really good guy in charge. Just have to trust the process. I think we've heard that from somebody before.
It's not that long ago where we were worrying about Fred leaving.
Nice.
Remember that, remember every offseason, Fred's gonna leave. Like, that's like kind of what our focus was like after the seasons. We should have just enjoyed it more.
Right.
Just like looking at, obviously the C Premier didn't work out, but like
same thing happened with Tim Floyd.
Yeah.
We won the last Big 8 tournament, and everybody was talking about the Bulls then.
Which I watched The Last Dance again, and it's just like crazy how what's his face, the big round GM, what's his name?
Krause was
Jerry Krause.
He was the GM, but he wasn't the guy. Who was he?
He was the general manager.
Who was the short? I thought Jerry. It was Jerry. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Jerry Krause. Yep. They were a friend. They were fishing buddies somehow.
Yeah.
And then he invited Jerry Krause's daughter invited all the Bulls organization but Phil Jackson, and he invited Tim Floyd. So like,
and Michael Jordan used to refer to him as Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, yeah.
He wasn't going to play for him.
Yeah, so. It's just. Yeah. I'm just, as I was saying, just like having Monte and George, that's like Purdy and Brees Hall. We should just soak it in and just enjoy it. Like, don't really like. What's the worrying about 5 years from now? Like, why would you make that? Why would you do that when we have what we have now?
So are you listening to yourself? You're the one that's worrying about it.
Yeah, no,
you're the one that calls me all the time,
yeah,
ready to jump off a cliff because of the Big 12 thing. I mean, I've been trying. So hopefully you're just talking yourself in this because.
But the thing that's different about this is, like, I'm talking circles, but what's different about
the
now
roller coaster
is like it can fall off so much faster because like. Players can leave whenever they want. Yeah. Like,
don't you think that's going to change though? I mean, this was a COVID thing.
No, people.
You don't think the immediate eligibility thing is going to change?
It's set in stone. Because like the NCAA over the last year just lost all their power. Like players get paid, transfers. Like, so what do they even do?
They're supposed to have some summit in January to rewrite their rules, like a constitutional convention thing. Which
they should have done that 5 years ago.
Should have done that a long time ago.
Or I'm just saying, just talk to myself, talking to Iowa State fans, enjoy it. We got Brock Purdy, which Ryan, like talking to Ryan, is like our backups are just as good. So like,
you watch those videos that the Cyclone football posts on Twitter and stuff. Man, our guys are put together.
Like if they didn't put the numbers on them, like you couldn't tell who's who because they're all jacked and fast.
Even that Jalen Noel kid that's getting a lot of talk. I mean, he's 18 years old and he looks like a man. I mean, he's really put together for being straight out of high school. And
shout out to Jalen and
thanks for wearing the shirts, dude.
Howard Brown, and you go subscribe.
So I read that Howard Brown played quarterback in high school.
There's like a big Barstool thing.
You seen a picture of him?
Yeah, he's huge. I mean, he's fast too.
Good Lord.
You didn't see that? It was a video last year. Like,
so how much weight has he put on since he played quarterback?
I don't know. Well, he was a big boy running quarterback. He had like a long run. That was on a huge viral video of Barstool. And
he's hilarious.
Yeah.
If you watch their vlog thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure we might be able to give him a little bit of some tips on cooking, but
Yeah, I don't know if I can, but maybe you can. Yeah, so we've been just it's been a lot of like because like the Big 12 thing is like such a huge topic. So it just basically distracts us from what's in front of us. Like,
Well, you don't need to let it distract you. I mean,
but it's all anyone talks about.
Well, stop listening to those people.
I know.
I mean, I don't. What I'm sick of listening to, when I listen to radio and other stuff about Iowa State, I am so sick of listening to people talk about the kicker.
The kicker.
We talk about whether we're going to kick it out of the end zone and all this kind of stuff. But
yeah,
who cares? I know it's a big play, but let's mention it maybe and move on. I'm sick of thinking about the kicker.
Nope.
I know it's a big play.
If we had a kicker last year, we'd have been in the playoff. Just let's break it down.
So what? So why are we? But
look, let's go back to the Big 12 championship game. We're not. I don't even know who the place kicker was, but we finally scored. Remember that? We finally scored, and then we kicked right before half. Kick just like a little, and they run it back to like our 40, and they score at the very end.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about kicking it kickoff.
Yeah,
that's what everybody's talking about. I don't know.
No, I'm saying
we've got so many other talented guys.
But I'm saying
nothing against kickers. I'm not beating up kickers.
Like last year, I'm beating up kickers from last year. So like last year, like
rugby punt 20 yards.
Special teams last year was like literally the only consistent thing that we were just like, man, what if we could just have a kicker that can kick it to the end zone?
I'm not gonna disagree with you.
And like that's like the only thing like a consensus that we need to be better from last year is a kicker, and it was not like it's not a mistake that the first signing after the Big 12 championship game was
the
kicker.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I'm just think it's kind of getting beat to death, but
because
that's just my opinion.
People are just looking for improvement, and like
speaking of improvement, man, the pictures of the stadium are. And I drove by to moved somebody to college on Friday and drove by the stadium a couple times. Holy crap!
Yeah, it looks so cool.
Oh my! If you guys haven't seen it yet,
yeah,
it is really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty slick. I went there a couple weeks too, and I mean, it was like to a point like they have like 3 weeks to get this done, and
yeah,
they did pretty well.
And you can walk all the way around the stadium while staying inside the stadium now. I mean,
you can't see you can't see inside the stadium from outside the stadium anymore. That's new.
Yeah,
and we still got the hillside.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I got my fingers crossed that we're going to be able to get through this little bubble of the Rona, so we can not be talking about issues. But I think we're to the point now where
athletic departments need money,
like what we talked about today. With the Raiders, saying you have to be vaccinated, or they're going to vaccinate you at the stadium, and then you have to wear a mask to get into the games. Are they going to do that for the UNLV game?
I don't. Yeah, I'm not. I decided not to go to that game, not because of that reason, but
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. It wouldn't make any difference to me either. But that'll be interesting.
I didn't see anything about that. I've seen like a little more about. I think there's one school that they're going to show like vaccination cards and all that. Which my thing about I don't really care about the vaccine. I got vaccinated. Like, okay, whatever. There's like whatever. Because I got vaccinated, so I wanted to interview Trevor Ryan, and I didn't want that to be an issue. That's like the main reason why I got vaccinated, but it's kind of a dumb reason. But you gotta do what you gotta do for the podcast, you know?
Right? Yeah, they're going for the team.
Yeah, and so like what I'm saying is like the Iowa State people that scan the tickets I know one of my best friends played at DMAC. They are the ones that scan the tickets. So like. Yeah. How much longer of a process is that going to be?
They give me the vaccination place too.
Yeah, which they'll actually have to hire because like the DMAC players are just volunteers that don't want to be there. So like they'll have to actually hire people to do that, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about vaccines or COVID anymore because I'm sick of thinking about it.
Which that's like the only thing that I thought of was like how much longer it's going to take to get in the stadium.
Or it's going to be a joke.
And like, yeah.
I mean, they're just going to say, oh, here's my card and it's your library card. Yeah. I mean,
at some point, these athletic departments are going to want money for full Jack Trice, and
sure.
And like last year, it was I went like you guys didn't go to any games last year. It was a fun time because you could which I wish they can still. Last year you could bring whatever you want in the stadium, so we bring like snacks and
you brought more than snacks.
Yeah, we can bring and whatever was in my water bottle. It's a discussion for another day, but. Yeah, it was a fun time. It was just like none of the games in I think me and Michael didn't go to the Oklahoma game. We watched it here with Derek Clark. But every other game, like we went to, every home game was like not close, other than the Baylor one.
Yeah.
Which,
so I mean, you couldn't tailgate.
You kind
of did.
There was like the only parking was like I don't know. There's like the pay parking, which wasn't on the university land, which people just, it was kind of like Underground Railroad tailgating, but like there's like only like 60 people, which
that's insane. I just can't. I mean, I can't even imagine.
It was really weird.
I'm sure it was weird because I could hear you guys on the broadcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I could pick you up because you're off like in one little corner by yourself.
Which it was strange. It was like very eerie. It's like walking to a stadium where it's just like empty parking lots and just everyone's like being weird about like walking distance.
Yeah, that had to be bizarre for the players too.
Yeah.
I mean, I let the players off the hook from my opinion of the Louisiana game. I mean, because I remember, I think it was Chase Allen had one of the first touchdowns, and he turned around,
celebrate to no one,
and I mean, it was like there's no crowd noise, nobody's getting it pumped up, and it was I could just see him running off the field like, this feels like practice, is what the body language said to me. And my son played high school football last year, and the crowds were okay, but he played high school basketball last year in front of just parents.
Yeah.
And I still remember, he ran out for our sub-state final game, and that was the first full gym he'd been in.
Yeah.
And he runs out as a 16-year-old kid, the first time he ever ran out in front of a full crowd, and he's smiling from ear to ear during layup drills. And after the game, I said, "What were you smiling about?" He goes, "That was so fun running out in front of all those people." I mean, it had to be the same way for those guys.
Which is like, looking back on like my career, like not having crowd, like it'd be like, I don't know if it's better or worse to like get integrated into varsity sports when you don't like have like
crowd,
like there's no like, oh, your classmates aren't even there.
Yeah.
You're just like, it's just like basically brings you back to travel basketball, honestly.
I remember when I was coaching high school basketball, we had one year we couldn't get any cheerleaders. We had no cheerleading sponsor, so we had no cheerleaders. And coaches sometimes complain about cheerleaders and them being noisy in the bus when you lose and all this stuff. And I really completely changed my appreciation for cheerleaders that year, because during timeouts it was like a morgue.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's cheering, nobody's doing whatever cheers in between timeouts or at halftime and everything, because and the student section's just sitting over there trying to figure out what to do. And I just completely changed my appreciation for cheerleaders, and that had to be kind of the way the kids felt last year when they were playing in that Louisiana game, because they just come off of, I think there's a lot more going on than we've been told, but
especially like when coaches had to probably change their like they can't like scream across the field because like the other coaches can hear what they're saying, because like usually you don't have that because like there's crowd noises. It was
a weird year. I'm hoping it's mostly behind us, but who knows? I mean, I had COVID in March, and I don't want it again. I'll tell you that. It was a long 8 days.
I was the 53rd person to have COVID in Humboldt County.
Yeah,
like 2 years ago.
Thank God for the NCAA tournament and online betting, because I got sick the day before this tournament started, and I bet $5 in every stinking game for 2 weeks.
And like you got COVID like 3 weeks, or like it was like about on the time with the Florida. So like if it would have lined up, you would have not be able to go to Florida too.
I think I told you this, but I went and got a test to see if I was still contagious 2 days before we left, because that was going to be the game changer if I couldn't go. And I wasn't. All the science I'd read was correct. When I did the test, I knew the pharmacist that did it for me. And anyway, enough COVID talk. So we came out ranked seventh, being 2 spots above Notre Dame. That kind of looked weird.
Yeah, like that's
kind of awesome.
My mom's whole side of the family is Notre Dame fans who I work for. It's just so weird, like walking up to me like, "Hey, do you ever think Iowa State we were ranked ahead of Notre Dame?"
Yeah,
like 5 years ago when we could.
You see, my niece is dating a guy that works for West Virginia.
Yeah,
did you see him talking smack to me on Instagram?
I didn't see that.
I made a post. And he was talking to me a little bit because he's an Oklahoma fan.
Which don't talk too much smack because he's gonna host us for the at West Virginia game this year.
It was not mean by any means.
Yeah,
There's
he's
no
are they engaged? Christy? No, they're
I
not.
think so. Not yet.
My
Well, did you hear that?
cousin's boyfriend, who's an Oklahoma fan and an Iowa fan. So
And works at West Virginia.
yeah, so he likes to talk some smack.
Yeah, he's good at it though too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was ranked 7th going into the season is going to be kind of cool. I'm just, like Todd Blythe said a few weeks ago when we interviewed him, we just need to look like the 7th ranked team.
Yeah, just come out and
hammer them but you and I, they got a lot of Iowa kids. They're going to give us the best.
What's different about this team is like those teams, like the first stringers are so much better than the second and third stringers. But
Right.
like Campbell's, like if they don't show up, they can just throw in guys who want to play or are ready to play.
When he said we have 11 starting offensive linemen,
That's
never been able to say that. I mean,
because like the roads there, like 2 linemen roll their ankles the first game, and we'd be throwing.
we lost Trevor Downing last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big loss. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't as big as it could. If that happens 5 years ago,
Yeah.
it's
It
a
did.
game. Complete
It did
game
happen. Like the center was. There was like a.
Oh
couple,
yeah, that's right. It was what was his name?
Farniak.
Yeah, Farniak. Yep.
Yeah, that just like
Yep.
and like Bundridge the first couple plays.
that
Like
was
there's
awful.
so many times where just like the first couple plays is like we get excited for the season and then
So what are you looking forward to the most? I mean, if we're assuming that nothing's going to change here in the next couple of weeks, we're going full tilt, tailgating the whole bit. What's the thing you're looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward to just walking through the tailgate lots and seeing like oh yeah, I haven't talked about the Field of Dreams, but we can get to that a little later. But which just like seeing people happy, like in a group of people and just like feeling like we made it kind of moment. And just like
It's gonna be a big family reunion.
because like last year was like we've already talked about that. But it was just sad.
Yeah.
It was so sad and like just it was like oh like the anticipation for this tailgate lots and seeing people we haven't seen in so long and being able to enjoy a top 10 team with the whole fan base. And we still haven't been able to celebrate the Fiesta Bowl win
Right.
with no fans, and which is crazy. And
The roar that's when the kids come out of the tunnel for the first time, the roar that stadium is going to make is going to be deafening.
Like-
I think, but we will have not cornered the market on that. And every stadium in the country that has a team that's going to have a full stadium, all of them are just going to go bananas.
especially like the Big Ten, like with that zero fans.
It's 0 fan, right? Yeah.
Like it'll be, it's going to be, I think people are going to be emotional. Like it's going to be that.
And I think, let's transition to your Field of Dreams experience. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
The way the field, your field when you went to the game and how it was received. I mean, I was on the road for work and you texted me and said, turn on Major League Baseball Network, and I wasn't home, so I came flying home. And I got back at 4:00 and I turned on the TV and I didn't move until he hits the walk-off home run. And I told my wife, I said, I haven't watched a baseball game from beginning to end for years.
You're not alone.
And I was just enthralled in the whole pregame thing and Kevin Costner telling the same story on 3 different networks and all that stuff. I mean, but I was assistant baseball coach at North Polk High School in 1989, the summer that came out. So that was my first year out of college. And we made the state tournament that year, and we were really good. And I was super into baseball. That's my dream job out of college was to be a head baseball coach. And so Field of Dreams fit right into that. And so the whole baseball emotion thing, I was really enthralled with. But there's a lot of people with their own stories.
Yeah.
One of my best friends in the company I work for died of cancer 20 years ago, and one of his last wishes is that he wanted to go to the Field of Dreams. And so they took him, and he'd been through chemo, and he was just a walking skeleton. And there's a picture of him being at the Field of Dreams. So there's something about that place that just invokes a lot of emotions. But I was jealous as heck that I wasn't there like you were.
Yeah, Louis. Shout out Louis Courier, one of my good friends, won the second part of the lottery, and he chose me over his dad, is a huge White Sox fan.
Wow,
but
can't believe that one.
Which I think, honored. It was one of the best, probably the best sporting event I've ever been to. Which I had no like anticipation for it because like I couldn't name one White Sox player.
No,
and
I didn't even know Jose Abreu played for the White Sox.
Yeah, it was. I watched like the movie like the morning before I went and just going there, and it was like the happiest group of people I've ever. It was just like it was like a 2-ticket thing, so it was like a dad and a little boy.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It was magical in every sense, and like the game, like forget the game, like just like that, like the going and playing catch. There's so many people playing catch with their son or older dad, and like it was. Yeah, I'm lost for words still. It was just so magical. And like like the pregame with that, and then walking through the cornfield and getting in your stands and just like, we are sitting in Iowa in a cornfield watching
Right.
Aaron Judge play catch. I'm like, wow. And then
8,000 fans. It's still mind blowing to me. There was 8,000 fans, and it is the highest grossing regular season game by double in history.
Yeah.
I mean, but everybody from Iowa that's listening to this that is detasseled before, I wonder if anybody else was thinking the same thing as I was, is that are these guys going to come through the corn and have little marks on their face from the corn leaves cutting their face like it does when you detassel? But, of course, my brother, who still works kind of in the agriculture field, said those those were wider rows. They planted the corn further apart. And I thought it was kind of funny, too, that they put straw down between the rows so nobody get dirt on their feet. And
it was funny seeing like New Yorkers and that it's like seeing corn for the first time. It's just like kind of a
trying to take a bite out of field corn.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the Iowa guys were getting a kick out of that too, but that's just the way it is. I mean, we've grown up around it forever, and I've got a field of corn across the street from me. I mean, it's just the way it is. So it was cool.
The game capping it off with 7 or 8 home runs, and I mean the concession stands were like so expensive.
$9 a beer, is that what you said?
Yeah, $9 a beer, $7 for a hot dog. And
I thought you said it was $5 for a hot dog.
No,
$7 for a hot dog?
$9.
Did you try that little apple hot dog thing?
No,
I mean,
I
that looked
didn't.
gross, but
I didn't see that until after I got home. Yeah, it was, and they cap it off with a walk-off home run. It was crazy.
So now they said, was it today? They came out and said it's going to be the Reds and the Cubs next year.
Yeah, which I think they should do like Red Sox, Yankees, or
I think they're going changing leagues. That's the reason. But then the Reds are who played the White Sox in the 1919 World Series.
Oh yeah.
And so they're thinking they're going to throw back. That's what I was heard today. But so they're going to use the throwback. And I think the Reds is one of the oldest franchises in the league. Still, they've been around forever. I think it was a Cincinnati Redlings or whatever. Reds. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't.
Anyway, Red Stockings. Excuse me. So, I think that's the connection. But it doesn't really. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to get more Ohio people probably driving in for it.
Yeah, as like a lifelong Iowa State fan, like what do we like this year? Like what are you looking forward to the most?
For the game?
Just everything.
Oh, I think, it's like we've said on other podcasts. I mean, it's going to be like one big reunion, and I really hope the game lives up to what everybody says it does, because I think the kids, and I refer to the kids as the players because all of them are young, or my kids' ages, and that's the way I look at them, to be honest with you. I have if you're a parent out there and you've got anybody that's between the ages of 14 and 26, you know what it's like to have a kid get disappointed about something. And so I know that they're putting their heart and soul into the offseason and everything. So I empathize with them if things don't go well. I hope it goes really well for them that first day. I mean, that first game, because I just want them to, have a lot of confidence and feel like they delivered for the fans. Because I really honestly do think our players really miss the fans so much that they feel like they owe them a show.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking that that'll be the part that I'm most concerned about, to be totally honest with you. But I'm hoping everybody's careful, because it's going to be a long day, and
Madhouse.
Everybody's got to get in and out of there safely, and use your head. I mean, it's not not worth losing your life or losing your license over. I mean, but it should be fun. I mean, it's as anybody that lives in doesn't live in Ames. I live an hour and a half from Ames. It's a long day when it's all said and done. And if it's a long day and it doesn't work out well, I was at the I have friends of mine that we try to get together once a year, and the last time that we went to an Iowa State game was the South Dakota State game, where we were in the Tip Top eating chili at 8:00 in the morning, and it was a day long thing. We were having a blast, and then that stinking storm came up, and I saw Mike Rose. It was his first play as a Division I football player, and he goes sideline to sideline on the first play, and I said, "This kid's good." And then there was like one more play after that, and then we stand under the overpass and don't get to watch it. So I'm hoping for good weather. I'm hoping for a good game. I'm hoping everybody's safe, and we can carry the momentum into what could be possibly one of the most hyped Iowa State-Iowa games ever.
It's going to be. It already is.
Yeah. But if they lose to Indiana, and we have a close game against UNI, we lose a little hype.
Yeah, which I gotta hope it doesn't happen. Which I don't want Iowa to lose that game. I want them to be undefeated. And
I don't either.
Yeah, that Iowa game will be.
I want us both to come out and look really good that first game, because that'll make it even more fun. But I just do hope that both sides of the fan bases, keep their head and not do something stupid. I mean, I had a lady in my neighborhood that I grew up in that was like a second mom to me, that was a huge Iowa State fan, was a donor before donors were even a thing, had tickets in the old football field, that had tickets in Hilton Coliseum and the Armory, and then she passed away several years ago. But she told me when she was about probably mid-70s that she was at the Iowa State football game, and somebody threw a full beer can at her when she was sitting in a chair, this nice older lady, and she never went back to an Iowa State football game after that. She probably missed another, 15 of them because of that one instance. And that's not the only person that's told me something like that. So I'm not blaming Iowa fans. Iowa State fans can be just as dumb as they are.
Yeah.
But we just need to, just keep it in perspective a little bit, especially with what's going on in Afghanistan right now with all of these people that don't know if they're going to live tomorrow. I mean, give us a little bit of perspective. Be, rabid fans, but don't be stupid.
Just to bring it back to lighthearted, here's a question. Does Iowa bring their band?
I don't know.
Remember when that was like the only problems of our lives was like the Iowa band, and what's his face's tweets when he was like 13 years old? Remember that fiasco?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Remember when that was like the only thing that was going wrong? Was those topics?
That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone through a strange 18 months, and you go back to Christmas of 2019.
Feels like 70 years ago.
Seems like a million years ago. I mean, it was, I don't know, but the world can change fast. I mean, we're watching it unfold on TV right now. So, I mean, everything can change quickly. So,
yeah.
But
I think
it's still just a game at the end of the day.
Yeah, we'll have more preview to come. So
this is what the Hold It Chew. You guys watching on YouTube. We talked about this in the last podcast. This is one of our Tinsley is our dog. She's one of her favorite things. You unscrew this thing. These come with it. They go in there, and then if you ever had a dog have a problem with a rawhide before, this will not happen with this. It's something that's designed to hold it so then they can chew on it without having any problems. So chewworks.com. Every order you place with them, you get a free, and you use the promo code STC for Sound the Sirens, you get a free koozie. So check them out and see what you think.
Yep.
And you don't ever talk about subscribing. Yeah. Make sure you guys subscribe
and
on podcasts. Make sure you
YouTube.
Give us a 5-star rating or whatever the heck it is.
5-star. Give us a review.
Give us a review. Be nice. Thomas is a nice guy. You don't have to review me. I'm not part of it. This is his deal. So check out the black shirts. SoundTheSirens.com is up.
We got a new website.
New website's up.
On Shopify. It got SoundTheSirens.com.
Yeah.
So just got launched like a couple days ago.
And you don't hear this is the only commercial we got that really wasn't even much of a commercial, but you listen to his podcast with that's all about Iowa State. That's the whole point of it. So we're here to try to.
Yeah, Michael's not been on. He's been really busy, so hopefully we can get him on before the season starts.
Yeah,
and we're kind of just going with the flow. I'm not sure what the plan is for the season, which I think we'll pump out a lot more content because we'll have more to talk about that's actually football rather than all other stuff.
And we started talking about basketball a little bit too at some
Yeah.
point. I mean, they had the alumni game and those guys. That was a kind of a cool deal.
It's,
I mean,
which we have actually something to talk about that's positive with those guys, which is exciting. Which
I personally am excited for if you can pull this off with your Cyhawk podcast.
Yeah.
Is to figure out a way to get that together. That'll be a lot of fun. And then I'm pretty sure that RVTV is coming to Humboldt again.
Yeah, they love Humboldt. So
yeah, we need to start doing. We need to do something with that too. That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be fun. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll get everything figured out for you guys, and really appreciate you guys listening. And I think we've gotten a lot more listeners the last couple episodes. I think you guys are getting excited for football season. So
share this with your friends. Tell people about it. I mean, we're not out looking for a whole bunch of sponsors or anything. We're just trying to spread the word, and we're doing. Thomas is doing this purely for his passion for the Cyclones. So.
Yep, and we'll have some Sound the Sirens flags up in the tailgate lot. So if you see one, you can come say hello to, I think Barry's or Uncle Barry's tailgate lots and Justin Lagos.
There should be one. There should be a couple of them flying around.
Yep. So appreciate you guys listening, and go Cyclones.
Yeah, go Cyclones.